もし、孤独が不幸ではなく、あなたの最大の強みになり得るとしたら、想像してみてください。子供が巣立ち、仕事の第一線から退くことも視野に入ってくる。一人で過ごす時間が増えることに、漠然とした不安を感じていませんか？社会はつながりこそ全てと語りかけ、孤独はしばしば寂しいもの、避けるべきものとみなされがちです。将来一人ぼっちになることを、密かに心配している方もいらっしゃるかもしれません。今日の先人の知恵は、まさに、そんなあなたのためのものです。良かれと思って人とつながり、社会と関わってきたけれど、なぜか心が満たされず、むしろ疲弊してしまう。あるいは、これから訪れるかもしれない孤独な時間に、どう向き合えばいいのかわからない。実は約700年前、鎌倉時代の末期から南北朝という激動の時代を生きた思想家、吉田兼好が表したつれづれ草の中に、この現代的な悩みに対する、驚くほど深く、そして意外な答えが記されています。今日のテーマは、老後は一人が最強孤独不幸ではない。兼好の言葉を通して、孤独や老いに対する見方を転換し、それを力に変えるための知恵ある孤独との向き合い方を探ることです。AI が急速に進化し、社会が目まぐるしく変化する現代だからこそ、外部の喧騒から離れ、自分自身の内なる声に耳を傾け、揺るがない軸を見つけることが、人生後半を豊かに生きる鍵となるのかもしれません。吉田兼好とは、激動の時代が生んだ頓生者。今日の知恵の案内役、吉田兼好とは、どのような人物だったのでしょうか。彼の本名は浦部兼好。京都の由緒ある神職の家系に生まれ、若い頃は朝廷に仕える役人であり、優れた歌人としても活躍した、いわばとの文化エリートでした。しかし、彼が生きたのは、13世紀末から14世紀半ばにかけての、日本史上でも稀に見る激動の時代、鎌倉幕府の力が衰え、元寇の脅威が去った後も、政情は不安定で、度重なる天変地異や疫病が人々を苦しめました。そしてついに鎌倉幕府は滅亡し、国は南北二つの朝廷に分かれて争うという、未曾有の内乱状態へと突入します。権力も、富も、人の命さえも、あっけなく移ろい、頼りにならない、そんな無常の現実を目の当たりにした経験が、兼好の価値観に大きな影響を与えたことは想像に難くありません。30歳頃、兼好は官職を辞し、出家して兼好法師となります。しかし、彼は特定の宗派に属して厳しい修行に打ち込む道を選びませんでした。むしろ、比較的自由な立場で、時には自然の中に案を結び、時には戸の片隅で、移りゆくよう冷静に観察し、古今の書物を読み解き、そして自らの思索を、気の向くままに書き留めていったのです。それが、日本三大随筆の一つと称されるつれづれ草となりました。彼の頓生は、単なる世捨て人の隠居生活ではありませんでした。それは、社会的な地位や名誉といった外側の評価に依存する生き方から、自分自身の内なる静けさ、簡素な生活の中にある美意識、そして変化を受け入れる内面の豊かさを重視する生き方への主体的な価値観の転換だったのです。これは、人生の転機に立ち、これからの生き方を模索する私たちにとって、共感を呼ぶ一つの生き方のモデルと言えるかもしれません。では、つれづれ草の中から、私たちが孤独や老い、変化と向き合い、人生後半を豊かに生きるためのヒントとなる、5つの重要な知恵を探っていきましょう。1、孤独の価値を知る一人であることの豊かさ。兼好は、つれづれ草第75弾で、驚くほどはっきりとこう言い切っています。つれづれなる人は、いかなる心ならん、紛れることなく、ただ一人あるのみこそよけれ。手持ち無沙汰な人は、どんな気持ちなのだろう。何にも邪魔されず、ただ一人でいることだけが良いのだ。と、これは、孤独をネガティブなものと捉えがちな現代の感覚とは、真逆かもしれません。しかし、兼好にとって孤独は、決して寂しさや欠落ではありませんでした。むしろ、それは外部の喧騒や、他者の期待、社会的な役割といった外の塵から解放され、自分自身の内面と深く向き合うための、積極的で価値ある時間だったのです。彼は、人と交わると、本心ではない言葉を使ったり、感情の起伏や損得感情に心が乱されたりすると指摘します。一方、ただ一人ある状態では、そうした心の波立ちから自由になり、静かに心を休んじることができる。そして、その静けさの中でこそ、物事の本質が見え、 自分自身の本当の声が聞こえてくる、と考えたのです。過剰なコミュニケーションや、常に誰かとつながっていなければならないという現代社会のプレッシャーに疲れを感じているなら、兼好の言葉は、意識的に孤独の時間を選ぶことの価値を教えてくれます。それは、心をリセットし、精神的な明晰さを取り戻し、そして、ありのままの自分自身と再びつながるための、かけがえのない機会となるでしょう。孤独は、弱さではなく、むしろ内なる強さを育む土壌となり得るのです。あなたは、日々の生活の中で、意図的にただ一人あるための時間や空間を確保していますか？その孤独な時間を、どのように価値あるものとして捉え直すことができますか？ 2. 移ろいゆく現実を受け入れる無常という名の真理。つれづれ草を貫く、もう一つの重要なテーマが無常。すなわち、この世のあらゆるものは絶えず移り変わり、永遠に続くものはない。という真理です。第7弾で、兼好は人の命の儚さを説き、長生きしても恥を増やすだけ、40歳くらいで死ぬのが見苦しくないとまで言い切ります。これは極論に聞こえますが、その真意は、人生の有限性を深く自覚し、老いや死への過剰な執着から自由になることの重要性を訴えているのでしょう。また、第155弾では、季節の移り変わりは予測できても、人の死期は予測できず、いつ背後から迫ってくるかわからない、と語ります。彼は、変化こそがこの世の常であり、特に死という究極の変化は、誰にも、いつ訪れるかわからない、という厳然たる事実を、私たちに突きつけます。私たちは、若さ、健康、財産、愛する人との関係様々なものを失いたくない永遠であってほしいと願います。しかし、その願いは、無常という世界の根本法則とは相入れません。このギャップこそが、私たちの不安や苦しみの大きな源泉となるのです。兼好の無常感は、私たちに変化を恐れ、それに抵抗するのではなく、むしろ変化こそが自然の理であると受け入れ、その中でいかに生きるか、という問いを投げかけます。老いること、病むこと、そして死ぬこと、それらを単なるネガティブな出来事としてではなく、人生という大きな流れの一部として、穏やかに受け止める心の姿勢を育むこと、それは、諦めとは違います。むしろ、限りある時間だからこそ、今この瞬間が輝きを増し、失われる可能性があるからこそ、身の回りの人や物事への感謝の念が深まる。無常を受け入れることは、逆説的ですが、私たちに今を生きることの価値を、より深く教えてくれるのです。あなたが今、変化や喪失を恐れているものは何ですか？それが無常であるという事実を、穏やかに受け入れることができたなら、あなたの心はどのように変化するでしょうか？ 3. 過去にも未来にもとらわれず、今この瞬間を大切にする。私たちの心は、過去の後悔や未来への不安にとらわれ、目の前の今をおろそかにしがちです。しかし、兼好は第108弾で、人はただいまの一年に生きるのみと述べ、本当に価値があるのは今、この瞬間の心の在り方なのだ、と強調します。過去はすでに過ぎ去り、変えることはできません。未来はまだ来ておらず、どうなるかは誰にもわかりません。私たちが実際に影響を与え、そして体験できるのは、今だけなのです。兼好は、未来の苦しみは現在の悪い思いから生まれ、未来の幸福は現在の良い行いから生まれる、とまで言っています。これは、今の心の持ち方や行動が、直接的に未来を形作っていく、という強い信念を表しています。人生の後半に差し掛かり、過去を振り返ったり、老後を案じたりする時間が増えるかもしれません。しかし、兼好の言葉は、そうした過去や未来への心の旅から、私たちを優しく今、ここへと連れ戻してくれます。後悔や不安に心を奪われるエネルギーがあるなら、それを今、この瞬間を丁寧に生きることに使いなさい。と、目の前の仕事に集中する。大切な人との会話を味わう。季節の移ろいを感じる。あるいは、孤独な時間の中で、静かに自分自身と向き合う。その一つ一つの今の積み重ねこそが、充実した人生を作り上げていくのです。幸福は、未来のどこかにあるのではなく、今、ここを大切に生きる、そのプロセスの中にこそ見出されるのかもしれません。あなたは、過去や未来について考えることに、どれくらいの時間を使っていますか？意識を今、この瞬間に戻し、それを大切に味わうために、どのような工夫ができますか？ 4. 過剰な欲望や期待という執着を手放す。兼好は人生における多くの悩みや苦しみの根源を私たちの執着に見出しました。特に第242弾では、人々を強く迷わせるものとして名誉欲し、色欲、そして食欲という3つの大きな欲望を挙げ、これらは道理に反する誤った考えから生じ、結局は苦しみしかもたらさないため求めない方が良いと説いています。これは単に禁欲的な生活を進めているわけではありません。むしろ外部からもたらされる刺激や満足感、他者からの評価といったものへの過剰な執着が私たちの心を常に不安定にし、真の心の平穏を妨げているという洞察です。名誉や社会的地位を追い求めれば、それを失うことへの恐れが生まれます。感覚的な快楽に執着すれば、それが得られない時に不満を感じ、悪なき渇望に苦しみます。物質的な豊かさに執着すれば、他者との比較や際限のない消費に追われることになります。兼好が示唆するのは、こうした外部への執着から距離を置き、より内面的な充足や簡素な生活の中に価値を見出すという生き方です。それは多くを持たなくても心が満たされる道です。人生の後半においては、体力的な衰えや社会的役割の変化などによって若い頃と同じようにはこれらの欲望を追求できなくなることもあります。そんな時、これらの執着を手放すことができていれば、私たちは変化をより穏やかに受け入れ、年齢を重ねることを新たな価値観を発見する機会として捉えることができるでしょう。執着を手放すとは無気力になることではありません。それは自分にとって本当に必要なもの、本質的な価値を見極め、それ以外の過剰な欲望や満たされることのない期待から自分自身を解放することです。それによって私たちは心の平穏を取り戻し、よりシンプルで自由な境地に至ることができるのです。あなたが今手放せずにいる執着は何でしょうか。それはあなたの心の平穏をどのように妨げているでしょうか。もしその執着を少しだけ緩めることができたなら、どのような心の変化を感じられるでしょうか。5、不完全さや移ろいの中に美を見出す感性。つれづれ草の魅力の一つは、兼好の鋭敏で洗練された美意識にあります。彼は完璧に整ったものよりも、むしろ少し欠けているもの、左右非対称なもの、移ろいゆくもの、あるいは質素で簡素なものの中にこそ、深い趣や美しさを見出す感性を持っていました。満開の花よりも散彩の桜、明るい満月よりも雲がかかった月、といった具合です。これは、完璧さや永続性といった理想への執着を手放し、不完全さ、儚さ、移ろいやすさといった、この世のありのままの姿無常の中に、独自の価値や美を見出す、という、日本的な美意識の革新とも言えるでしょう。現代社会は、若さ、成功、効率、完璧さといった価値観を偏重しがちです。老いや衰え、失敗や欠点は、ネガティブなものとして隠されたり、克服されたりすべきものと考えられています。しかし、兼好の美意識は、私たちに全く異なる視点を提供します。人生のあらゆる段階、あらゆる状態、たとえそれが不完全であったり、衰えを含んでいたりしても、その中に独自の味わいや美しさを見出すことは可能である。と、例えば、年齢を重ねてできた顔のしわも、その人が生きてきた歴史の証としてみれば、味わい深いものかもしれません。若い頃のように多くのことはできなくなっても、一つ一つの経験から得られる知恵や洞察は、より深みを増しているかもしれません。簡素な暮らしの中にも、工夫や手作りの中に、洗練された美しさや心の豊かさを見出すことができるかもしれません。この感性は、私たちを常にないものねだりの状態から解放してくれます。完璧でない自分、移ろいゆく状況を否定するのではなく、そのありのままの中に美しさや価値を見出すこと、それが、今、ここにあるものへの感謝の気持ちを育み、日々の生活に静かな喜びと彩りを与えてくれるのです。あなたの身の回りにある、完璧ではないけれど美しいと感じるもの、移ろいゆくからこそ、趣があると感じるものは何でしょうか。簡素な生活の中に、どのような豊かさを見出すことができますか。さて、これらの吉田兼好の知恵を、AI が社会の隅々に浸透し、情報がかつてないほどあふれる現代社会の中で、 私たちはどのように生かすことができるでしょうか。兼好が生きた時代も、戦乱や疫病によって価値観が揺らぎ、人々が不安に駆られた時代でした。彼は、その外部の困難に対して、内面の静けさ、自己との対話、そして移ろいゆく現実をあるがままに受け入れる姿勢の中に、確かな拠り所を見出しました。これは、現代を生きる私たちにとっても、極めて重要な指針となります。情報過多の時代において、兼好のように意図的に外部の塵から距離を置き、一人静かに思考し、内省する時間を持つことは、情報の波に飲み込まれず、自分自身の判断軸を保つために不可欠です。SNS などを通じて他者との比較に疲れやすい現代だからこそ、不完全さも含めてありのままの自分を受け入れ、他者の評価ではなく、自分自身の内なる基準自灯明によって立つことが、心の健康を守ります。そして、AI が私たちの思考や判断にさえ影響を与えかねない時代において、兼好が重視した外部の情報を鵜呑みにせず、自分自身の経験と内省を通して自分の知恵を育む姿勢は、主体性を保つための鍵となります。AI は有益な情報を提供してくれるかもしれませんが、最終的な判断と意味付けは、私たち自身の内なる作業にかかっています。兼好が示した執着を手放し、無常を受け入れ、簡素な生活の中に美を見出す生き方は、AI がもたらすかもしれない雇用の変化や社会構造の変動といった、外部の不確実性に対する内面的なしなやかな強さを育む上でも大きなヒントとなるでしょう。思考さえアルゴリズムに影響されるかもしれない時代に、兼好は AI が決して触れることのできない、私たち自身の内面世界の力を思い出させてくれるのです。まとめ、吉田兼好がつれづれ草に記した約700年前の言葉。それは、現代を生きる私たちに、静かに、しかし深く語りかけます。孤独は、恐れるべきものではなく、自己と向き合い、内なる声を聞くための、豊かな時間となり得る。老いは、単なる衰退ではなく、経験を知恵に変え、新たな価値観を見出す、実りある季節となり得る。変化は、抗うべきものではなく、この世の常として受け入れ、執着を手放すことで、今この瞬間をより大切に生きるためのきっかけとなる。真の豊かさは、多くを所有することではなく、簡素さの中に美を見出し、内なる世界を探求するプロセスの中に存在する。これらの兼好の知恵は、人生の後半という新たなステージに立つ私たちが、将来への漠然とした不安や孤独への恐れを手放し、より穏やかに、より意味深く、そして自分らしく生きていくための心の羅針盤となり得るものです。それは、外部の評価や状況に左右されることなく、自分自身の内側に確かな拠り所を見出す生き方への誘いです。今日、吉田兼好の言葉に触れて、あなた自身の人生や心の在り方について、何か新しい視点や気づきはありましたか？答えを急ぐ必要はありません。彼の言葉は、私たちに即効性のある解決策を与えるというよりは、むしろ、立ち止まって静かに考えるための問いを与えてくれるものです。今日一日を終える前に、あるいは、今この瞬間に、あなたがあなた自身にかけてあげたい慈しみの言葉は何でしょうか？ほんの少しの時間で構いません。ぜひ、静かに心の中で、ご自身に向けてその言葉を唱えてみてください。あるいは、こう問いかけてみるのはどうでしょう。兼好の知恵に触発され、今週、孤独とのより肯定的な関係を育むために踏み出せる、ほんの小さな一歩は何だろうか。無常を受け入れるという視点が、将来への不安への向き合い方を、どう変える可能性があるだろうか。その問いと向き合うこと自体が、あなたの人生をより深く、豊かにしていく、確かな始まりとなるのかもしれません。最後までご視聴いただき、ありがとうございました。このチャンネル先人の知恵が導く AI 時代の生き方では、時代を超えた普遍的な知恵と、現代的な視点を組み合わせながら、皆さんが変化の時代をよりよく生きるための思考法やヒントをお届けしていきます。今日の吉田兼好の言葉が、あなたの心を少しでも穏やかにし、日々の喧騒の中で自分自身を見つめ直すきっかけとなれば幸いです。ぜひチャンネル登録をしていただき、これからも一緒に、先人たちの知恵から、よりよく生きるためのヒントを探求していきましょう。最新の動画を見逃しません。また、動画が少しでも参考になったと感じたら、高評価で応援していただけると嬉しいです。そして、 あなたがつれづれ草の中で心に響いた言葉や、ご自身の孤独や老いとの向き合い方について考えていることなど、ぜひコメント欄で教えてください。
When you're up and down and up and down and up and down, that just means you're that means you're really sloppy in your focus. It means that you're letting whatever's around get your attention. So you're practicing a lot of vibrations. And because you are practicing a lot of vibrations of wanted and unwanted, you have active within you a lot of different vibrations on a lot of different subjects. And so anytime you have an active vibration, then your point of attraction includes that active vibration. So you get some of that, and 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 that, and that, and that, and that. But as you get better and better at caring about how you feel and reaching for more and more thoughts that feel better and better to you, it's what we call deliberate creation, deliberately focusing rather than focusing by default. Deliberately focusing on more and more things that feel better so that you're practicing that vibration that feels good longer, steadier, so that the vibration within you does not have such a broad range. Now, law of attraction brings you the contrast within that range. Ooh, don't you like knowing that? Law of attraction is always bringing you the contrast within the range that you've been practicing. So what have you been practicing? Well, the best way to ask yourself that is, how have you been feeling? Pretty good. Well, then your range is that. Sometimes people say, well, if I could just get more of the things I want, I would feel better. You compare yourself to others. You see many others who are feeling really good, and you say, well, of course they feel good. Look at how they live. Look at how they look. Look at who they live with. Of course they feel better. They have all of the things that I want. So it's easy for them to feel good with all of that money and all of that good stuff surrounding them. And we say, we get how when you see someone living something that you want to live that you aren't living, that you would feel uncomfortable because you're looking at the opposite of what you want. You're looking at the lack of what you want. But we want you to understand that it does not matter where you stand. You can today begin cleaning up your vibration. You can today begin feeling a little better. And as you feel a little better, that's your indicator that you are cleaning up your vibration. And by that we mean you're not introducing so many of the I know what I don't wants to the equation. It's more, I like that, I prefer that. We want you to remember that you are vibrational beings. It's hard to remember that because you're so tangible, you're so physical, you're so flesh, blood, and bony. We know. You are physical and you live in a physical world, and so you are accustomed to seeing the things that are physical in nature and calling it your reality. And we call it your reality too, but there is a vibrational reality that is at the basis of all of the tangible, manifested, realized reality. And that reality is the reality that we want you to begin to give your attention to. Because if you can get out ahead of the manifestation by focusing upon the vibration that is the precursor to all manifestation, now, not only will you have a more joyful romp through life experience, but you will have more deliberate control of what does manifest. Now, we're really not too excited about helping you control your manifestations in the sense that we really don't want you to measure them and catalog them and pigeonhole them and try to understand your world from the framework of the manifestations. It's what almost everybody you know is doing. You're comparing your stuff to each other. And while that is certainly a natural process, it slows you way, 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 way down. If you were making one comparison and one comparison only, and that is the vivid all day, really easy to discern comparison between what your vibrational frequency is right now, this red hot minute, given the attention that you're given to whatever you're giving your attention to. Follow that? Whatever you're looking at is causing you to offer a vibration. And the source within you, that's where we come in, is looking at the same thing right now from our perspective or our opinion. And so, source has an opinion about what you have an opinion about. And if the opinion that source has about what you have the opinion about meshes, matches, merges, harmonizes, if it's the same, in other words, if you're looking at somebody and you're loving them, your opinion matches. But if you're looking at someone and you're not loving them, not so much, well, Abraham, you should have seen what they did. If you're looking at someone and you're feeling something less than love, you see, you don't walk around feeling less than love. You walk around thinking thoughts that give you the feeling of less than love. You don't think, I'm going to not love you. You think, I don't like what you just did. Or I don't like what you just said. You focus negatively in an attitude of trying to push away from you something unwanted. And when you do that, you do something different than the source within you is doing right here, right now, about the same subject. And so the feeling of, I don't love you, the feeling of absence of love is the feeling you get when you diverge, when you depart, when you contradict the opinion that the larger part of you holds. Now, how does that settle with you? Does it make you feel funny that there's someone with such an opinion about what you've got going on? We are the product of what you've been synthesizing. We are the sum total of all that you've lived. We stand as the vibrational equivalent of what you've come to. So you cannot separate yourself from us, but you can introduce enough resistance between that which is you and that which is us that you can make yourself feel bad. And then you blame it on everything else. You blame it on that guy. You blame it on that other thing that happened. You blame it on some circumstance or some event. And we want you instead to take credit for every emotion that you feel, because every emotion that you feel is the simple byproduct or indicator of your frequency as it relates to the total frequency of who you are. So when we are talking about that relationship between you and you, we're talking about the vibrational relationship between you as you stand right now, given the opinion that you hold, and you that has become the vibrational equivalent of that which is us. You that is already living the dreams that you've dreamed. You that is already spending the money that you've gathered. You that is already knowing the things that you want to know. Because you can't ask a question about something that you want to know without sending out the rocket of the knowledge of it. In the moment you ask the question, we know the answer. That's how this powerful law of attraction universe works. And do you know why? In the moment that you pose the question or live in the problem, that we know the answer or the solution. Do you understand why the solution is instantaneous for us? Because when that rocket goes off and there is no resistance, the solution must be instantaneous. You could do that too if you weren't so hung up on explaining the problem. You get so invested in your problems because most of you view the world in an action-oriented way, and you think that there is someone, it was like your mother and father at first, someone who holds the answers, but you have to get in line. In other words, it's like your mother says to you, do you think you are the center of the universe? I have more important things to think about today than that. But the universe never says that to you. The universe says, when you ask, it is given. And the only question that we want to ask you is, where are you in relationship to the answer that has been given? We like your desire to feel fresh. We like you to feel eager about it. We like you to know that the creation of a button or a castle is equal in this vibrational universe in which we are all living. It's just a matter of focus. So when you get it that you are the focuser of your reality into beingness, and that part of that focus is choice, and part of that choice is contrast or variety. When you come to realize that just like when you are at your food buffet, where no one, not lately anyway, is forcing things onto your plate. No one is making you choose specific things. You're just choosing because life has shown you what you prefer. And so that is the way we see this contrast that you're started to say engulfed in, but that sounds like it's a little bit oppressive. And sometimes you feel oppressed by the variety. But the better you get at focusing, the less oppressive the variety will feel. Because you can focus your variety into piles of really delightful, sort of delightful, and only delightful. In other words, you do not have to run the gamut of horrible to wonderful. Your choices will clarify the more you focus in the direction of what is wanted. So if you have a broad range of contrast, we haven't talked to you about this before, not in this way. If you have a really broad range of contrast, like things are going really good and then things are going really bad, or you are feeling really wonderful and then you are feeling really awful, your doctors want to call that something that we won't give a label to. Are you appreciating the contrast that helps you to focus your desire into being? That's the most significant question, and we are sad that you lied just now, but we are never sad. But you did lie. But that is a very good goal for you, to come to the place where you are enjoying the variety for the choices that it helps to formulate within you. It's a really good thing when you realize that you are the creator of your own reality, and that the reality that you are creating is born within you first, the first step of it, in variety or contrast. The word variety sounds better to you than the word contrast, doesn't it? Variety, a plethora of delightful things from which I can choose. But contrast is also that plethora of delightful things from which you can choose. Because you would not know what you wanted if you did not know what you do not want. It really is that simple. You just don't need to get so carried away in the holding yourself apart from it that your desire moves into that stronger place of fretful yearning. You feel fresh, new, burgeoning desire. When desire feels like that, you know you are on the path, don't you? Because when what you want feels good to you, even before it has been realized by you, even before it is actualized in your experience, then you know that you are on the wavelength that not only will bring you what you are wanting, it must, because law of attraction says it is so, but you're having a good time now, not waiting for the manifestation before the good times roll, yeah? And if you are in that place where you are needing something to manifest before you feel hopeful or optimistic or eager, it really slows things down, doesn't it? And yet, you are, we love you very much, hooked on manifestation, aren't you? You like that tangible, lickable, seeable, hearable. You like that stuff. And we like you to like it because, after all, you are in these magnificent bodies. You are out here on the leading edge. You are bringing all that we all are forward into the newest manifestations. And the manifestations are the leading most part of creation. They are. You're not here proving some sort of worthiness in order to go sit on a cloud with us later. We don't sit on clouds, by the way. We romp with you through the woods. We sail with you on your boats and fly with you on your planes and walk with you on your paths and eat your meals with you. We sing your songs with you and paint your paintings with you and write your books with you and read your books with you. We play with your dogs and theirs. A lot of dogs here. A lot of dogs here.
Well, it didn't hit me until she was completely done, and has moved on and talking to someone else, and I feel like my whole world has come crashing down, and she's all I think about. She's all
So what this subject is really about, they want to tar and feather you. What this conversation is really all about is that when you are as most people are, this is going to make perfect sense to you, so just relax and take this in. It'll be easy for you.
Okay.
When you are, as most people are, rather conditional in your awareness of life, and so when there is someone in your life and there are aspects that you are appreciating but aspects that you are not appreciating, all of that affects your vibrational output, which affects your relationship with your inner being. And so you did not have a really good relationship with your inner being on this subject because that bothered you, and that bothered you, and that bothered you, and that bothered you, and that bothered you. And so from a position of knowing what you didn't want, a position of focusing on what you didn't want, you drifted apart from this person, and now that person is no longer up close to you. Now you are still continuing that same vibrational pattern of focusing on what you do not want. The condition of whether she's there or whether she's gone is irrelevant, which sounds odd to you, but it really is irrelevant. It's the relationship that you have with your inner being that always represents how happy you are, or how good you feel, or how not good you feel. And so there's a saying in your physical environment that you never miss the water until the well runs dry. And that's sort of what's going on here, because there were many more positive aspects than that you were accurately or deliberately or consistently focusing upon. And so now the irritating points aren't there all day, every day. Now you're focused more upon the things that you did like, which is making that feeling of her no longer being there feel uncomfortable.
Right.
If we were standing in your physical shoes, we would acknowledge that through it all, you launched many rockets of desires. You know what you don't want, so you know what you do want. So we'd like to visit with you here about what you know that you do want as a result of that. And if you can, let's go back even to those annoying, overly possessive, her wanting something from you you were not ready to give. Go back to those times where you knew what you didn't want, so you know what you do want. What was some of that you wanted?
I wanted more, basically, freedom to pursue what I'm trying to become an actor, and I do stand-up comedy, and that was a big part of our relationship.
So you wanted your autonomy, you wanted your freedom. This is really interesting. You wanted no one to be dependent upon you. And yet now you feel sort of dependent. In other words, there is almost always a dependency in relationships that is not very helpful for either one of you. So you wanted more freedom. What else?
I wanted her to be dependent upon herself. I wanted her to be able to hang out, with her friends, do her...
So you wanted her to feel free also.
Correct.
So all of that is in your vortex. Now, what else do you believe is in your vibrational reality through all that you've lived relative to relationships? Freedom and autonomy for both, that's really a powerful cornerstone. But what else?
I guess for me to be completely happy and the other person to be completely happy.
To be catalysts to each other's alignment, to be happy. That's really good. What else? Try to get to some of the specifics. How did you blend in terms of cohabitating?
What do you mean?
We mean, were you compatible in terms of the kind of food you wanted to eat? Were you compatible in terms of the way you kept your dwelling?
When we would hang out, everything was completely fine, but it wasn't towards the end of the relationship that she let me know that she just felt like it was never going to work out because I was never going to change my outlook on keeping the space and keeping...
Because you were not going to give her your undivided attention. You were going to be broader in your experience. You wanted a more rounded experience. You wanted her to be a part of your life, but not the only part of your life.
Correct.
And so, do you feel now that that's changed?
Yeah, I feel like as soon as she had said it was completely over, that like everything came crashing down.
Yes,
and
but
I
see,
felt like,
this is the reason. Because you wanted her to be a part of your life, you just didn't want her to be the only part of your life.
Right.
And so then when she was no part of your life, then you want her to be a part of your life. But you still don't want her to be the only part of your life. You see what we're getting at?
Right.
In other words, if she were to see the error of her ways and come back to you because you're missing her, it would be right back to where it is again, because what she wants and what you want relative to a relationship are different things.
right,
She is wanting you to give her your undivided attention, and you are wanting a broader spectrum, which is what everyone wants. Everyone wants to have many things that you're focused upon.
right,
So we get it that in the complete absence of her, that you're missing the parts of the relationship that you wanted. But the thing that we want to point out to you is that you have over time, and especially with this relationship, built a vibrational relationship that is really magnificent. And do you think right now, this red hot minute, that the reality of what she is offering you and you are offering her matches that vibrational reality?
no, not at
It
the moment.
doesn't, does it?
No.
It doesn't. And so can you feel that the discord that you feel, this is always true. Whenever you feel negative emotion, it always means the same thing. It means one thing and one thing only. You're looking at this specific situation, and your opinion about it is different than the opinion of your source. Because your source knows who you are and what you're looking for, and your source knows that this is not it. And so when you're focusing on it and wanting to call it, you feel the discord. In other words, whenever you focus upon the absence of something you want, you feel discord. But can you feel how you're focusing upon wanting to bring the presence of something that you don't want back?
Yeah.
And so can you feel how that's still negative emotion that you would feel? You
Right.
see, your life isn't falling apart because the girl is gone. Your life feels like it's falling apart because you're using this subject to separate yourself from what the source within you knows. And the source within you knows that that relationship has served you extremely well, and that you've put all kinds of things in this vibrational reality, not only about the relationship, but about your physical activities, about your body building, about your acting, about your comedy, everything that you want, about your financial prowess, about your future experience. It's all in your vortex, and your inner being is calling you toward it. And so this negative emotion is just because you're focused upon conditions that are holding you apart from that happiness. That's all that it is. So we're going to give you something. Everybody's going to benefit by this.
Sure.
That will really serve you. It goes like this. So your vibrational reality and everything you want, the woman in your life, the women in your life, the women in your life, the women in your life, the variety in your life, all of the women in your life. So there's a vibration about all of that, about your career, about your finances, about your physical prowess, about all of that. There's a vibrational knowledge, a reality, an expectation, even more, a point of attraction that cooperative components are being drawn to. Big, fast momentum. There it is. So here you are over here focused upon a reality that isn't pleasing you, a long way from the vibration of that. So if you can, for a little while, just try not to focus upon this condition, and instead focus upon something that you can focus upon. You can focus upon the unconditioned. You can't focus upon the girl that you want being there, but you can focus on being happy. Right. You can find happy without the condition of something that makes you happy. Most people say, give me the condition and then I'll be happy. We say, doesn't work like that. Find happy and that will evolve to the condition. It's such a big difference, you see. You can't get there from there. You can't get to happy from knowing that what you had isn't something that you want, then feeling bad, which isn't happy, when something that you didn't want went away.
Yeah.
You can't get there from there. Yeah. You got to get to happy. You got to get to freedom. You've got to trust that your life showed you what you want, and you've got to allow others to gravitate to those who match them. There's nothing wrong with what she wants. It just doesn't match what you want, you see. So many people hold themselves in long-standing unhappy relationships as they try to get each other to satisfy the conditions so that they can be happy. Right. You used to do this so that I could be happy, and now you don't do it anymore, so I can't be happy. And we say, that's not freedom, that's bondage. And it's not because of what somebody else is or isn't doing. It's because of your misguided understanding of what happy is, right. You see.
Yeah, towards the end of our relationship, actually, all I kind of thought about was, you know, being single, breaking it off. And sure enough, I believe that's what I had attracted. So it's like, do I truly miss it because I don't have it, or do I miss it just because?
You miss the positive aspects of it. Of course you do.
Right.
You miss the positive aspects. But the thing that you want to understand is that there are so many more that hold everything that you want. Right. You see, let the universe deliver it all to you, not just some of it to you. Sometimes people will say to us something like this, and we'll say, find this frequency and hold it, and the likelihood of that relationship returning is very great. In this case, we're not saying that because your vortex version is so much more than that version was, you see. And yet there's a feeling of, I should take any condition and I should make it work. Not true. There are all kinds of conditions that are not in vibrational harmony with who you are and what you want. And it's all right for you to focus outside that condition and allow what you really want to then come to you. And in many cases, what you really want will come from the environment in which you were living. In other words, sometimes it happens that way. But what you want is happy. And so this is the way we explain this, is that if you'll get general rather than specific, then your vibration will clear up and your realizations will be stronger and your impulses will too. Esther has a very good friend who has been doing her hair in San Diego area for many, many years. And her friend is so sweet and so cute and had been wanting a relationship for so long. So every time Esther was there, a few times a year, that was what her friend wanted to talk about. And Esther would always say, it's hard to know that something is coming when you can't see it. And not being able to see it is dominant. But I promise you that someday what you want will be there. And then one day, Esther shows up to have her hair done. Guess what, guess what, guess what? I met someone and he's wonderful. And Esther said, one day he wasn't there and the next day he was. Isn't that interesting? Not there, 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 not there. Because the vibration is there, 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 still no manifestation. The vibration is there, the vibration is there, the impulses are coming, the vibration is there, the impulses are coming, the vibration is there, the impulses are coming. Hello. So it seems like it's just this magical occurrence, but what it was basking, believing, hoping, wanting. In other words, focusing on what is wanted, holding herself in that vibration. Esther tells herself that story all the time. Not there, not there, not there, not there, not there, there. You see. Mm-hmm. But you all, you're so interesting. You're so not there, 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 bad feeling, bad feeling, bad feeling. Not there, not there, not there, not there, not there, not there. Lonely, 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 not there, lonely, 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 another decade, lonely, 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 lonely. And it doesn't have to be like that. Just get off of it. Stop focusing on anything that makes you feel lonely. Stop focusing on anything that makes you feel bad. Focusing on anything that makes you feel good. Clean up your vibration and watch what happens. You begin realizing the revelations that are coming, and then you find yourself right place, right time. And then it is our promise to you. You meet this person and you don't say, oh, I'll take the bad with the good. You say, wow, you seem to be everything that I put in my vortex. And then you thank every previous relationship who helped you build this vortex.